And away we go.
All right, so what is in the news today that we should report about?
I'll check. I just started.
All right.
Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, posts rare video of her children for Father's Day.
All right. A rare photo of her children for Father's Day. All right, that's pretty interesting. Let's hear more about that.
Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, posted a video on Instagram featuring moments with her children, Archie and Lilibet, for Father's Day. In a post, Meghan expressed her affection by saying, "The best happy Father's Day to our favourite guy." The video highlights Prince Harry's role as a devoted father and captures family joy and warmth. Harry has previously shared how fatherhood has positively changed his life.
Well, I will say this: it's great that he's proud to be a father. There are a bunch of people out there who just produce children, and the women keep it, and the fathers don't want to be in their lives. So a huge shout out to the fathers out there who actually would want to be in their children's lives. And happy Father's Day. Yeah, happy Father's Day to him, and hoping his family is safe. Because once again, I know that being a father is extremely hard, or at least being a good one is probably harder. But just being there is being there is the easy part. But truly being a good father is just probably the hardest part, because it's you wouldn't want to mess up and have your kids resent you in any way, shape, or form, or just be angry with you. Well, obviously, there's going to be moments when they're angry at you, but that's only if you're trying to discipline them and just, but that will eventually go away. But yeah, I'm just happy that he's happy to be a father, and how fatherhood has changed his life. It does that to most men, either in a positive way or a negative way. But I would assume that it would mostly be a positive way. If the father chooses to stay in the life and stay in their lives and just do his thing, and try to be the best father that he can be. So yeah, I would assume, because maybe you would start off as rowdy, and then as you get older and truly see and truly see your kids growing up and wanting you to be there for everything. Yeah, you could probably just soften up a bit. So once more, congratulations to him. Yeah, I just hope that he's happy. All the more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it's great. It's great to hear. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Diddy Juror dismissed by judge over inconsistencies about residents will be replaced.
All right. Let's hear more about that.
Judge Arun Subramanian dismissed a juror from Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial in New York due to inconsistent answers about his residence. The dismissal followed a review showing the juror gave conflicting statements about living in the Bronx and later New Jersey, raising integrity concerns. Combs' defense opposed the removal, arguing it would harm the jury's racial diversity, and filed a 14-page appeal claiming no valid dismissal basis. Judge Subramanian expressed significant doubts about the juror's honesty and the possibility that he altered his responses to secure and retain a spot on the jury, noting that the presence of 6 alternate jurors helped maintain the court's integrity. The
Mm.
juror was replaced with an alternate to preserve the trial's fairness, and the judge rejected claims of prosecutorial misconduct and racial bias.
Well, that has to be good news for Mr. Sean Diddy Combs. I mean, you would never want that to happen, or to affect what's going on in general. But yeah, still obviously doesn't excuse what Diddy has done. But I'm glad I am glad they're trying to hold a form of integrity and fairness and consistency in terms of this case. So yeah, it's and the fact that they found inconsistencies as well is just it's just like proof that yeah, they're trying to at least be honest with be honest with this whole thing that's going on with Mr. Sean Diddy Combs. And yeah, so it's all we can do is once again wait to see if he gets off scot free. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know how long this case is probably gonna take, but I know it's probably gonna take years to truly resolve this case, because this is I know that most of the things that we have heard about this case is pretty damning, to say the least. Um, to say the least. And yeah, so it's this case is probably going to take a long while to get resolved. But ultimately speaking, we're going to see who prevails and who does not. And so far, it's still not looking good for Sean Diddy Combs himself. But we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if he either gets released in the next couple of years, because this case is not going away that easily. This case is going to continue on until they can think of a fair sentence for him in prison if he's found guilty. But if he's by some miraculous miracle found innocent, the internet is going to be in an uproar. Everyone's going to be in an uproar. The victims are going to be in an uproar. Everything about everyone is going to just be in an uproar in general. But I'm definitely glad that they're at least giving him a fair case, giving him a fair trial, and making it fair all all around. You don't have to like the guy. You don't have to like the guy. But the least you can the least you can ask is he get a fair case. I'm not on his side. I'm not on anybody's side. Obviously, yeah, if he actually did it, then that's wrong. Then he deserves what's coming to him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, obviously if he did all of that, he deserves what's coming to him. I'm not on his side. I'm not on anybody's side. But it's yeah, I just want justice for the people who got hurt, or yeah, I just want justice, and yeah, so yeah, that's all I have to say. Do you have anything to say?
Nothing else to add.
All right, cool. So let's see what else is in the news.
Taiwan adds China's Huawei SMIC to export control list.
Interesting. All right, Taiwan and China. Let's hear more about that.
Taiwan blacklisted China's Huawei and SMIC by adding them to its export control list to restrict technology flow on Saturday. This action follows ongoing US export controls and raising concerns over Chinese chip makers closing the AI semiconductor gap. Taiwan requires local companies to get government approval before supplying Huawei, SMIC, goodness me, or their subsidiaries with strategic tech and equipment. Tech Insights found a Taiwan-made TSMC chip inside Huawei's advanced B AI processor, highlighting Taiwan's critical role in China's AI ambitions. Taiwan's move aims to safeguard its semiconductor ecosystem amid China's territorial claims and vows to unify with Taiwan by force if necessary.
To unify with Taiwan by force if necessary. Is that really what it says?
Yeah, that's literally what the summary said.
You're gonna unify with someone by force. It's
Yeah,
hey,
that's what they said.
hey, you don't want to unify with us? That's fine. We'll do it by force. It's that's like me, marrying someone by force. Hey, you don't want to marry me? Well, I'm gonna marry you by force, whether you like it or not. I'm gonna put that ring on your finger, whether if you like it or not. Bro, unify and force do not have anything in common though. You don't unify by force. That's like me trying to put put a triangle in a square shape by force. It's it may not fit, but we're gonna put this in by force if we have to.
It's also like putting out fire with fire.
It may not put out the fire, but it's gonna put out the fire whether if it likes it or not. Even if we have to burn down the entire city, this fire is gonna go out.
Dang.
Now that's kind of hilarious. But
Yeah.
but I will say this: hopefully they can find a way to unify with each other, not by force, and hopefully they can come to a common ground. And
Absolutely.
yeah, because like, bro, I don't see how unification and force go hand in hand together. It just doesn't. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, enact like a war? What are you gonna do? It's like, bro, if they don't want to unify with you, they don't want to unify with you. It's like by force. I mean, I'm pretty sure like China and Taiwan are equally great places. But it's like, man, it's like, bro, it's like just don't do it then, man. It's like if neither party wants to be unified, then don't move on. I get it, but it's actually I don't really get it all that completely. But still, it's like, bro, like just do something, man. Do something else. It's like China has its own thing, Taiwan has its own thing. I'm pretty sure they would both prosper alone, regardless. But still, it's like, man, just chill. That's all I gotta say. Just chill with that, because it's like, eh. But I just hope that they can find a resolution to their problems. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Global shares gain oil prices ease on day 4 of latest Israel-Iran crisis.
Okay, yeah, I've been hearing a lot about the Israel and Iran crisis. People are obviously divided with that once more, and we're going to continue to see division hand in hand. I've been seeing it on Twitter a lot. I've been seeing it on Twitter a lot too, and it's like, man, it's like, yeah, it's like, but you know, they're both sides are willing to fight the good fight. But yeah, let's hear more about this story.
On June 15th, oil prices climbed following a significant intensification of tensions in the Middle East, although the upward movement eventually slowed as the market stabilized. The initial surge in prices was triggered by coordinated Israeli airstrikes on Iran's South Pars gas field, which temporarily halted production and resulted in a reduction of approximately 12 million cubic meters of gas.
Golly, that dang, bro. It's like I'm sure they didn't. I really don't know if they specifically aimed at their oil, but if they did, dang, that is a lot.
There have been many sources that are all saying that a majority of Israeli strikes were against anything related to Iran's resources, especially oil.
Okay, well that's dang. It's brutal, but it's smart.
Yeah,
Strip people of their resources, and yeah, then they have nothing. I don't really know what Iran's tactics are, but like whether if you like Israel or hate Israel, it's a smart tactic to have. Strike the resources, get rid of the resources, and then sooner or later they'll be forced to surrender because they don't have any more resources. So I would say the next step for Iran to do is just protect any resources you have. Protect any resources you have left. Because like Israel is right now Israel is I actually don't know who's winning right now, but if if that's going to be the tactic moving forward, then Israel has it in the bag. I'm not. I'm just saying, like statistically, like Israel will have it in the bag if they continue to do that, and then like yeah, it's like man, it's like but like either way though, I will say this: both sides like obviously both sides shouldn't be at war, but like obviously they're gonna war, you know just because. And we all know that like one side started it, and because of that one side that started it, there's a war now, and obviously innocent men and women and children are dying, and that's not okay. But yeah, it's like, anyways, regardless on any disagreements, I wish the best on both sides equally. I'm not gonna play one side. I'm not gonna play the other side. I'm just wishing the best on like both sides equally, and I hope that they can somehow end this. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Is there anything else in the news?
UN summit to end with boost for ocean conservation.
Okay, that's it. That sounds interesting. Let's hear more about that.
The UN Ocean Conference concluded on Friday in Nice after a 5-day event with 15,000 participants and over 60 heads of state. The conference built on previous momentum, including the 2022 Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework and the 2023 High Seas Treaty, aiming to accelerate implementation and ratification of key agreements. Delegates called for urgent measures, including the removal of $500 billion in subsidies that harm ecosystems, protecting no less than 30% of marine and terrestrial environments, and directing financial resources towards achieving climate and biodiversity objectives to stop species decline. As of Friday, 50 countries ratified the High Seas Treaty, with 90 new ratifications last week towards the 60 required to bring it into force. The conference resulted in the Nice Ocean Action Plan, a dual component framework featuring a formal political statement alongside more than 800 voluntary pledges from governments, scientists, United Nations bodies, and civil societies, emphasizing the need for prompt, coordinated efforts leading up to Armenia's 2026 COP17 summit, which will serve as a critical global progress review.
Very, very interesting. Seems like there's a lot going. There seems like there's a lot going on in that on that side, huh? Hmm. Do you have any like initial thoughts on that?
Well, now of course, when I talk about the the world we live in, the nature, and well, just nature in general, both sea and on land. Although I appreciate and I respect the dedication of conserving, protecting, and defending the wildlife that we have and the environments that they live in, I am still concerned about, although not in recent times, but in the past, there's always going to be a few people trying to scare people, trying to say climate change is a major threat to us. If we don't do this in the next 10 years, all of the cities next to the coast are going to flood. But wait, like, not even 50 years later, the cities are still standing. Like, even if it's a little bit of change, who's to say that bit of change drastically affects our lives?
Yeah, I would say like for the most part, maybe the curbs would be a little bit cracked or something, but that's about it. Maybe
Yeah,
like maybe that, or like maybe like the curbs will be a little, maybe the streets will be a little bit worn out from like the driving in the cars, but that's about it. And I don't know, maybe like certain trees will die out, or maybe certain bushes will dry. Like the point is, it's like it's a really slow change that happens, and it's like it's just if it doesn't really affect our lives and how we're living and how we're breathing and how we're just moving around left and right from work and back from work, it doesn't really matter that much. You know, I know that there are people who said that there were things that were going to happen in the next 10 years, and most of those things have not happened at all whatsoever. But that's just me. That's just me. But yeah, it's like at the end of the day, it's you know it's either like it's either it's going to affect us or it's not going to affect us. And if it doesn't affect us, I would say like if it was 10 years ago, you would not get scrutiny for that. I mean, shoot, you believed in that, so I mean, I would say if you're still standing on it, that's like the only that's what I'd be worried about. If you're still standing on it, be like, oh yeah, it didn't happen this year in 10 years, but it's going to happen in the next 10 years again. Just say it might happen in the distant future, in the very distant future. Don't put a number on it because you're not even 100% certain. Like if you said that it would happen in the distant future, then sure, I can probably possibly believe you, and other people could possibly believe you. But ultimately speaking, it's like if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it might happen long after we're gone, after we're all gone, or just up in age, like probably 50, 60, possibly 40. Maybe we'll still be young, but you know, what are you really going to do about it? I mean, if it doesn't really affect anybody, then it doesn't really matter as much. Obviously, if it's going to happen, it matters. But if it's not going to happen, it does not matter. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Is there anything else in the news?
French Tesla customers file lawsuit over brand becoming extreme right symbol.
Really? The extreme right symbol.
Uh-huh.
Crazy. I've never heard of Tesla. Let's just hear it.
Around 10 French clients are suing Tesla, claiming that the vehicles are now seen as symbols of the extreme right. According to their law firm, GKA, the lawsuit seeks termination of lease contracts and reimbursement for legal costs as stated by lawyers Patrick Plumont and Ivan Tirel. The GKA law firm claimed that Musk's actions have caused direct and concrete damage to customers' enjoyment of their vehicles. They assert that these vehicles were intended solely as innovative and ecological products, not political symbols.
Interesting. I'll be honest. I after reading that, I mean, just bro, just I would say just cancel your business relationship with Elon, and you don't have to really sue him over that. I mean, if it's a symbol of the right, just like bro, just resign business with him. At the end of the day, Elon's gonna be fine. Even if they sue the guy, he's like a trillionaire, or yeah, trillionaire, I believe. But yeah, it's like yeah, Elon is gonna be just fine regardless. I mean, I don't really see a reason. I don't see a logical reason on why they're suing the guy. I really don't. I mean, just because those cars became symbols of the right, allegedly. I'm not really sure. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna rule out buying Tesla, but I don't see myself buying a Tesla. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't. But yeah, it's like I'm not gonna rule it out, but at the same time, it's like, bro, it's like that's what you're suing him for? That just seems very petty. Just because of a just because like, a couple of like, extreme right wing people, or just like, or it's become a symbol of the extreme right, are buying the Teslas more. Who cares? At the end of the day, it's like, bro, you should be happy. You should be happy. You're at the end of the day, you're like, Elon is still making like, making like money off of this type of stuff. So it's like, I don't really know. I don't get the discouragement, other than the fact that they're probably Democrats. Yeah, I just really don't get. I just really don't get like why they're upset. I don't. It just seems like a petty reason to sue someone. Canceling business with them, fine, all right, but suing, but suing, we're really gonna get that involved. We're really gonna like, bring our lawyers into all of this. I don't know. It's like it's not the dumbest thing to sue someone over, but it's up there somewhere. It's up there, but at the same, it is what it is.
It was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go through all that trouble try to get something out of Elon, then shoot, be my guest. But it's like, I just don't see it as a big deal. I mean, if like, if people on the extreme right want to buy the cars, let them buy the cars. If they want to parade it on social media, and just talk about certain topics, let them talk about certain topics with the Teslas in it. But I'll be honest. I mean, I would say it's like, in some way, shape, or form, it's Elon's fault. But at the same time, it's not Elon's fault. He doesn't control. He doesn't really control who buys it. He doesn't really control who buys his Teslas or his cars. It's just, it's just people who. It's just people. I'll be honest. Most of these people are probably supporters of Trump, and because Elon had prior association with Trump, uh, yeah, they're supporting Elon as well, and his ventures and his businesses. So I would say, like, if you're making like, a good amount off of your business, that's a win-win either way, in some way, shape, or form. Like for you, because you're making money, you're still making money. But like, I guess certain people, to an extent, don't like the right that much that they're willing to sue another man just because your product has allegedly become a symbol of the right, of the extreme right. And yeah, so I guess we can sue people for that if we don't like something. And like, all right, you want to support these people, you want to support this party, I'm gonna sue you for it. But hey, you know good luck with Elon and that lawsuit. I don't agree with everything that Elon does or says, but good luck with him in that lawsuit. It won't really affect him that much, to be honest. It's probably gonna make it would just make a dent in his wealth at best, but I just don't see that necessarily affecting Elon negatively because the guy's a ton of money. The guy's a trillionaire. So it's just another day in the office for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah. Anything else in the news?
Meta-owned WhatsApp starts in-app ads for first time.
Wow. Okay. For the first time ever, huh?
Yeah.
Let's hear more about that.
On June 16th, 2025, WhatsApp, owned by Meta, began rolling out new in-app advertisements within its Updates tab globally. Meta acquired WhatsApp in 2014 and has long maintained the app as largely ad-free, but the need to boost revenue prompted this shift. The new monetization options feature advertisements displayed in status, highlighted channels within the channel search area, and paid subscriptions to channels managed through App Store payment systems. WhatsApp stated personal messages, calls, and groups remain end-to-end encrypted and will not be used for ad targeting, which relies on limited info like country, language, follow channels, and ad interactions. This launch represents a major evolution in WhatsApp's revenue model while preserving user privacy and minimizing disruption to personal chats.
Well, good for them, but this doesn't really affect me that much. I mean, don't get it twisted. I have WhatsApp. But the only reason why I have WhatsApp was because, like, at one point, like, I had a job where it's like it required us to communicate on WhatsApp. And on top, but I have it now because it's like where my church group is at. Yeah, it's like how I communicate. It's how I staying up to date with what's going on in my church. But yeah, other than that, it's like I don't really care about. I don't really care about whatever updates they have. I mean, in-app subscriptions is crazy though. But you know, I mean, desperate them. Like, bro, it's like, what are they desperate to make money? They have money. They just want to make more of it. Like, bro, but ultimately speaking, WhatsApp is probably not going to go anywhere. It's only going to continue to evolve from here, I suppose. Shoot, it may even look different. It may even look different, like from years from now, or years from now. It may look different. But do you use WhatsApp?
Yeah, mainly because of family
Yeah,
communication.
yeah, yeah. I thought so. Yeah, I would say like I don't really use WhatsApp that often, but I just use it to like stay up to date, like what's going on in my church and whatnot, and maybe some probably eventually a potential job. But other than that, I really don't use it. But for other people who love WhatsApp, that's just probably the most exciting news of their lives, man.
Or not, who knows?
Yeah, or not. It might just be another day. Be like, like, all right, they're probably gonna be like, I'm probably not gonna use all of this, but it's cool that like WhatsApp is doing this, yada yada yada. You know, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a texting app. I mean, that's like me getting excited about like you remember like the texting app Kick, right?
Kick.
Or have you used that before?
I've heard of an app called Kick, but I don't
Yeah.
recall fully what its purpose was at the time.
Well, pretty much it was just like it was a texting app. It was pretty much like texting app. Do I really want to say it was social media? It was a texting app. It was a texting app that came out in, like I believe the early 2010s or something like that, or early or late 2000s. I think the app is spelled. Hold on. Let me actually look it up. I'm pretty sure it's still KIK. Hold on. Yeah, KIK Kick messaging and chat app. I think a recent update they have is like you can now live stream. Like a recent update that they have is like you can now live stream on it now.
Yeah, the thing is, I was thinking the last time I've heard of an app called Kick it was also a place where you could do live streams, like you would on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's why that name sounds so familiar to me.
No, you're thinking of like I think you're thinking of like the other Kick live streaming app. This
Kick.
yeah, Kick.
Right.
This one is spelled Kik.
Okay.
Kick. Yeah, Kick. This app has been around for years, literally years. I'm pretty sure half a decade or something like that. But yeah, it's been around for a long time. And yeah, I used to use it a lot when I was mainly in middle school. Yeah, I think it was actually the first social media that I actually had. Then I downloaded Twitter and then Instagram, and it was raps from there. But yeah, dang. But yeah, anyways, yeah, it was like it's like me getting excited about an update on Kick or something like that. It's a texting app, cool, whatever. But yeah, uh, good luck to. But anyways, good luck to WhatsApp and whatever they're gonna do in the future. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. But yeah. What else is in the news?
Painkillers like Tylenol found to stop pain before it reaches the brain.
Okay, interesting. That's an interesting, like, report. Let's hear more about that.
A new study has found common over-the-counter painkillers like Tylenol don't only work in the brain but also target the nerves that tell your brain to feel pain. AM4, a metabolite of anti-acetaminophen, works by shutting down specific sodium channels in pain-sensing neurons, stopping pain signals before they reach the brain. The study's authors say because AM4 targets only the nerves that transmit pain, it shows promise as a local analgesic because it could avoid the numbness, muscle weakness, and side effects that come with traditional local anesthesia.
Are they like reporting that as like a good thing, or or is just, huh? I mean, I really don't have much of a take on this. Like, are they reporting it as like a good thing, or like just like are they like a bad thing? Actually, no. I think they are reporting it as a good thing, but it's like at the same time, it's like I don't know. I don't know if I trust it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't know if I would trust it. I mean, would you trust it?
I'd be cautious and I'd maybe ask a couple of questions or two. Mostly uncomfortable, but it has to be said. Like, how could this be so good to be true? Yet we haven't seen any testimonials regarding this process or this type of medication.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like we need to see like at least some testimonials about like how good this medication truly is. Because yeah, I would ask some questions too. I'd read the bottle or whatever they're packing it in, and I would yeah, you'd have to ask some questions, uncomfortable, like you said, but these questions have to be asked because it's like God forbid, like someone could like potentially take one of these and immediately have to go to the hospital or something because of what these have done to their brain, or just probably general heart or something like that. Like the point is, you have to be cautious when it comes to stuff like this. I don't know. It's like, man, it's like I don't think I really 100% trust it. I don't think I don't think I 100% trust it. And it's like we've learned a lot from like the past couple of years too. It's like you always got to be cautious about certain things that like people push out, depending on the people, of course. But yeah, what most people push out, and you got to be cautious on like what they say, and take some things with a grain of salt because they could be lying, or they could like just be wrapping it in something where it doesn't, they could just be wrapping it up like making it not sound as bad, but in reality it's bad. So you got to be careful with that type of stuff. But yeah, what else is there in the news?
Crews to begin moving Lahaina wildfire debris to permanent landfill.
All right, let's hear more about that.
Crews will start transporting ash and debris from the 2023 Lahaina wildfires from temporary storage in Oluwalu to the central Maui landfill, with up to 50 marked trucks making multiple trips daily over 5 months. Mayor Richard Bisson reaffirmed the county's commitment to Oluwalu residents, calling the debris relocation an important step in Maui's recovery and thanking the community for its patience. Maui County will host a meeting on June 16th to discuss wildfire prevention, evacuation planning, and new hazard mitigation measures in response to past failures in emergency warning systems.
Very interesting, but it seems like it's going to take a long while. So I will say that I hope they have a full-fledged recovery while also doing this service for themselves and for the citizens who live there as well. And no matter how long it takes, it will be done. I really don't have much of an opinion on this. So I will say, whatever needs to be done will be done, and whatever will. I just hope things are up from here. I just hope things are up from here and it does not proceed to get worse. And even if it does get worse, the best thing you can do is just endure and not be discouraged. And that's the only thing you really can do when you're dealing with something like that. Do you have anything in regards to this?
Well, whatever happened in Maui with that wildfire all those years ago, although I'm not a resident of Maui and I don't know people from Maui, I'm still somewhat outraged by what happened when that fire broke out in Maui. And I'm not just talking about whatever plans that they had for Maui in the event that something was to be destroyed within Maui, but the people in Maui, they deserve better. And even if there had been celebrities asking for donations, how much of the money has actually gone towards supporting people in Maui? Like, it's I feel like stories like this is mainly just a distraction. And when people hear about whatever happened in Lahaina, Maui, and other surrounding areas, they only talk about it for like a few weeks, then a few years go by, we only get occasional updates just recapping what happened the day that the event took place. And there is nothing progressing since then.
All of that is very true. And yeah, the people of Maui do definitely deserve better than what's going on with them. All you can really do is like just hope for the best for them moving forward. There's not nothing that I can do. There's not nothing that we can do. All we can do is keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and just like hope that they do like usually for the majority of people it's up from here. And obviously, whoever like died in that wildfire, my heart is with their family and friends, and any loved ones who got affected by that fire in any negative way possible, whether they're still alive or whether if they're gone. And yeah, it's like just hopefully things get better from here in terms of their situation. But yeah, I'm sure like some people stayed and some people moved. But ultimately speaking, everyone has their reasons for doing certain things. So yeah, it'll be up from here. Like it's high hopes from here, and hopefully they can. I hope they recognize that as well. That's all I hope. That's all I hope for. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Gunmen shoot municipal mayor dead in Mexico in second such killing this year.
Oh wow, dang, that's very unfortunate actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear more about the news.
The mayor of San Mateo Piñas, Lilia Gemas Garcia Soto, was shot dead in her office by four armed men on motorcycles. This is the second mayor killed in Oaxaca state this year. A joint operation involving state police, prosecutors, and the Mexican army is underway to find the attackers.
Oh,
Oaxaca Governor Solomon Yahara condemned the assassination of Lilia Gemma Garcia Soto.
well, I will say this: it's very unfortunate that a person's life had to be taken simply because some people disagreed with something. I would personally like to know what did she do that was so bad that warranted her to get shot and killed.
Maybe she could have done something that would be very beneficial to people in her community, and there are some people, mainly whoever was responsible for unaliving the former mayor, that they believe this goes against our way of life. This goes against what we're doing. And if she goes ahead with it, where do we stand? What happens to us? Are we done so? They say. And maybe that's possibly, allegedly, why they've done it. Because although this is a developing story and there's more that's yet to find out, although there are people who may say or do things that not many people agree with, but there could be people in this world, in positions of power, they do care about their community and they'll do what they can to ensure that people living in such communities live their best lives. But there are going to be some people that just wants to see the world go up in flames at times.
Yeah, I will say this. It's like, I get it. Like, people care about their community. And I can't even judge and I can't even judge and say that these guys did not care about their community because I don't even know them personally. But I will say this is like, man, taking a person's life is not the solution. I mean, shoot, you disagree with the other guy so badly. It's like, you disagree with the other person so badly, they got killed, and now she got killed, unfortunately, due to like disagreements they may have had. Shoot, I'll say this, man. It's like, bro, we disagreed with, like, a lot of people disagreed with Biden, but it's like, no one was crazy enough to try to kill the guy. Yeah, but at the same time, someone tried to kill Trump just simply because they disagreed. But like, other conspiracy theorists say that, like, it wasn't a real legit moment. But we're not gonna get into that part. But yeah, it's like, I would say, like, just in general, a person is not like killing a person is not like a good thing to do. Well, both morally and the fact that there's always going to be someone who rises up that you disagree with. So it's best to just, like, take those disagreements and express them in a way where it's productive and informative and intellectual and just has people thinking, has people, like, like, forces people to think. It can force someone to think. Or, I don't know, just simply, don't pay attention to it. I don't know. And even if you do pay attention to it, it's like, just recognize, all right, people who I disagree with are gonna come and go, and people who I agree with are gonna come and go. I would say just don't put so much emphasis on, like, a person and their opinions, because it's like, ultimately speaking, obviously if it affects your daily life, then, like, and if it affects your, like, way of living, then sure, yeah, you can, yeah, sure, I would say you should heavily care and just try to find a solution out of that situation. But I don't know, man. It's like, just, but don't kill the person. Don't kill the person. It's like, bro, like, there's a bunch of people who disagree heavily with Biden or with Trump or with Kamala or with anybody. I will say, like, there, like, with special cases, some people would probably go and try to kill those people. But in, like, the majority rule cases, I will say that, like, most people are sane enough to not try to kill a person they inherently disagree with, whether if they're mayor or president. So I would say for the most part and for the majority part, try to find a productive way to disagree with someone and see if you can find a solution. But yeah. Is there anything else in the news?
An earthquake off Peru's coast shakes capital, leaving one person unalived and five injured.
I will say this before we get into the story. It is very unfortunate when any life is taken. It is very unfortunate if anyone's life is taken away abruptly due to any natural disaster. However, I am glad that five people were only injured and not killed in that situation. I'm glad that, like, it was only like just six people who suffered. You said five injured and one died, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, like, one unfortunately died, but five were injured. I would say, like, being injured is better than, like, just, dying like the other individual unfortunately did. And may I would hope that he is resting in peace, or they're resting in peace. But yeah, like, stuff like this is just always very, very unfortunate.
It's very sad.
Yeah, it is. But I always say, it could have been way worse. It's at least 5 people and more people survived that natural disaster. But yeah, let's hear the story out.
A magnitude 5.6 earthquake struck off the coast near Lima, Peru, on June 15th, 2025, causing 1 death and 5 injuries. The earthquake struck 25 kilometers to the southwest of Callao, a coastal urban area located west of Lima, within the seismic, seismically, within the seismically active Pacific Ring of Fire region in Peru. The quake caused damage to roads, educational centers, buildings, and homes, interrupted a live football match, and led to a mass evacuation at Lima's cathedral. Officials indicated the earthquake occurred at 11:35 a.m. local time at a depth of 53.5 kilometers, causing interruptions to events while President Dina Boluarte was en route to Callao to assess the situation. The event highlights ongoing seismic risks in Lima's region, stressing the importance of emergency readiness and monitoring in this seismically active zone.
Well, I will say this: this is a very serious situation, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure either a couple months ago or somewhere last year it was like the first time that I ever experienced an earthquake. It wasn't like it wasn't that shaky, but it was still something to worry about. And although I don't experience heavy earthquakes as big as other places do, I would say this is definitely something to take seriously, because you can not only potentially get injured or killed, like we read in the story, but you can also, things in your house can also break, and a lot of priceless things can either break, and I say priceless meaning just things that have value to you, and a lot of things can just get ruined in that process, including a house if you have a house. Just I would say the ceiling didn't easily just potentially cave in, God forbid. But yeah, it's this is definitely something to take seriously, and I just hope that everyone is okay and everyone got out safely, and may God be with them all. Ultimately speak. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Anti-tourism protests break out in Spain, Italy, and Portugal.
Anti-tourism, huh?
Yes.
Wow, I've never heard of that. This should be interesting.
On June 15th, 2025, coordinated protests took place across Spain, Portugal, and Italy, including Barcelona, Venice, and Ibiza, to oppose mass tourism. The protests responded to decades-long over-tourism, causing overcrowded city centers, housing shortages, and rising living costs that displaced locals. Activists organized marches calling for solutions to housing crises,
Hmm.
environmental preservation, and improved labor conditions, with some urging people to bring water pistols. In 2024, Spain welcomed close to 94 million international travelers, ranking it just behind France as one of the top global tourist destinations, while short-term rental bookings increased by 25% over the past 2 years. The protests highlight persistent tensions between tourism-driven economic growth and its negative impacts on residents' quality of life, raising calls for stricter tourism regulation and housing policy reforms.
I will say this. You know what? In a way, I don't really blame them for not wanting tourists in their culture, because frankly, yeah, it ruins everything, and yeah, it ruins everything. It brings a lot of it brings certain things down and certain parts of history down. So in a way, I would say This is a protest that's actually justifiable. I don't even blame them. Do you?
Neither do I.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's it can only. I'll be honest. It's it can only I get you wanting to visit a city, you wanting to visit a country, you wanting to travel around the world and just see different cultures and different perspectives. But yeah, at the same time, it's you have to acknowledge that it's a bit too much, and I'm pretty sure in if you had a specific culture that you wanted to maintain, you would not want a bunch of tourists coming to your culture and potentially ruining it, eating your food, and just dirtying your streets. In a way, I actually don't blame them. I actually don't blame them for protesting against this. I hope something actually comes of this as well, so that they can maintain their country, their culture, and everything. I really do. And even if they do invite tourists, I would say they should limit it to a couple thousand, maybe a year, if
The
that's
question, the question is, how are they going to limit the number of tourists that come into major cities each year?
that is a good question. I have no idea, but I believe that they can somehow do it. I believe that it can be. I believe that it can be done. But yeah, it's like you said. How are they going to do that? And that is a question that they need to answer. If something actually comes of this, otherwise it's just another useless protest. Because I'm not gonna lie, most protests are useless unless there's actually action being taken by the organizer and the people who support the protest.
And there is progress coming from the protests afterwards.
Exactly. Otherwise, you just shout. Otherwise, you're just shouting Otherwise, you're just shouting like an idiot in the street. It's it takes more than just shouting in the street. You actually have to take action, do something, go to a courthouse, maybe something, anything is better than just you shouting and doing nothing the next day. Shoot, yeah, just do something with that. And if you gain support, use that momentum to make a change. But if they want to completely stop it, I would say that'd be a bigger challenge. But if they want to limit tourism to a certain amount of people a year, I'd say that's doable. It's possible, but is it plausible? But yeah, that's something that they have to figure out themselves. I can't figure it out for them. You can't figure it out for them. They have to figure it out for themselves. And if the organizer is motivated enough, they will. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Dark web drug market busted by European and US authorities.
All right, that's great to hear. Let's hear more about that great news.
Between June 11th and June 13th, 2025, law enforcement authorities conducted coordinated operations in multiple European countries, including Germany, the Netherlands, Romania, Spain, and Sweden, to shut down the dark web drug marketplace, Archetype Market. This operation, known as Operation Deep Sentinel, was a coordinated effort involving multiple countries, aimed at disrupting the platform by apprehending its leader, several of its top staff and sellers, and dismantling its essential technical systems. Authorities seized the platform's infrastructure, arrested a 30-year-old German national suspected as the administrator in Barcelona, and confiscated assets including $9 million from top vendors. Archetype Market, operated since May 2020, attracted over 600,000 users. 3,200 vendors had 17,000 listings and processed around $290 million in drug sales, including fentanyl and synthetic opioids. Europol stated that dismantling Archetypes cuts a major supply line for dangerous substances and sends a clear message that there is no safe haven for those profiting from harm.
I will say this. First off, it's good. First off, it's great that this is all getting shut down, and I will say I applaud them for shutting it all down. Second, I would say the dark web in general should just be shut down entirely. If they can do that because it's like I don't know, man. It's like it's called the dark web. It's like and you're just letting certain things slide. Like there are people on the dark web who want to do terrible things to people, or just sell people drugs, or do terrible things to like just innocent adults, innocent children. And it's like, bro, it's like, how has this even been going on as long as it has been? How has the dark web been a thing longer than it should have been?
Well, it's it's all about finding a gap in certain markets. The reason why the dark web even exists to begin with is an alternative option to all the mainstream consumer goods and services that we're all used to. A dark web is a place where people can find stuff that no one with even the deepest knowledge could ever find. And even if they can find it, well, only so little people know about this place. And that's what makes it unique from other places.
So, are what me and you using the light web then?
Oh, there's no such thing as the light web.
Yeah, that's true. I would say like I don't know. Maybe if you wanted to like purchase only like just specific gadgets or like just specific like things and like yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with the dark web. But it's like bro, it's the fact that they sell all of these very suspicious items on the dark web that's very concerning. It's just and all these terrible things on the dark web that's very concerning. Shoot, if there's such thing as a dark web, there should be a light web. But I don't. I think that would get. I also think that would get corrupted too.
Yeah, like, what would even be the purpose of a light web anyway?
That's true. There would be no purpose because I do believe that it would just be another alternative to the dark web. Yeah. So I just when did the dark web start like become a thing? I'm gonna search it. I'm actually gonna search it up right now. Hold on. Web start. It started in the 90s and early 2000s. That actually sounds very accurate. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense because it's like that's really when the internet started. I wouldn't say booming, but just yeah, I would say like that's when the internet was becoming
Mainstream.
mainstream and a little bit more normalized in our everyday lives. That actually makes a lot of sense. But yeah. As for like the people getting caught, I'm glad that they're caught, and they're gonna get to what's coming to them, and yeah, like justice is served. Yeah, I'm just glad that that whole drug operation is stopped. Don't do drugs, kids. Seriously, don't do drugs. Don't even smoke weed. Don't even smoke vapes. You know what? Actually, I'm not even gonna condone smoking in general. I was gonna say like if you want to smoke one of those like fat cigars that people used to smoke back in the day. I would say if I did smoke, I would get those. If I did smoke, I'd get one of those fat cigars. I don't know. They just look cool. They do. They look
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. It's like I don't know. It's like I feel like all I need is like a top hat. All I need is like a top hat or like some form of hat and like maybe a suit, and then I can just just smoke that one of those fat cigars. But yeah, you know what? Don't smoke in general. Children, adults, adults aren't going to listen to me. Children, don't smoke. But yeah, it's like but yeah, like is there anything else in the news?
Is us.
All right. Peace.
Peace.